Right, another short video, and on this one, we're going to talk about disposal. How do we handle our waste? What we do with it? We already mentioned about, well, food waste. We mentioned that a couple can go into a compost. We also mentioned that electronic waste, we're sending it away, but that's not the best way to do. And in the past, where we were just throwing stuff like that in a dump, uncovered location, and everything was just accumulated, like you can see in New Jersey in 73, close to the city of New York. Really nice, as you can see. And this also could be observed some places in the Central Valley, and it's illegal, totally illegal to have them site. Nowadays, we use landfill, which are more regulated, and they have their proper ways, as we will see, to manage the trash. The problem of those dump sites of throwing the trash illegally to other places is there is a high risk that this trash will end up in a river, and that river will connect to the sea and will end up into the sea, unfortunately, leading to what we call marine litter and the formation of what we call garbage patch. Those garbage patch is in fact a huge accumulation of garbage, in particular plastic, in all the oceans. We observe it in the Northern Pacific, South Pacific, also in the Atlantic. The one in the North Pacific is the biggest. It is a size that is bigger than the state of Texas in itself, but you have to imagine that this trash is just kind of uh, spread over the ocean, and from time to time coming a bit closer thanks to the oceanic current. And it's an accumulation of just small and big portion of plastic that is being released by our land on North America and on Asia in itself. And this plastic can be ingested, or it's toxic to the wildlife, and so it's killing a lot of the wildlife because, well, some of it take it for food. Again, some of it will release some of this plastic. Some of this waste can release also toxin that can impact on the wildlife. So there is an issue on treating in particular the plastic waste. About a third of it is in fact being incinerated. Incineration of plastic is not great, in particular because it's releasing a lot of air pollution, not a good thing to do. A third of it is discarded into nature, and then we have about 25%, a quarter of it only being recycled. So there is a big improvement that can be done in this quarter where we could be able to recycle more of our plastic. Another time, if we look at the production of pollutant for the ocean, China and first, but another time we need to remember that China is our first country of production in the world. So it kind of goes along with all these environmental issues, because we have countries such as us ordering stuff from China. Of course, their production will lead to some extra waste. And so we can observe that waste being produced in particular in the production countries that we have in the world, and those countries also that have a large exposure to the coast, which facilitate the transportation of that waste towards toward the ocean. And if I do remember well, it's about a big truck full of waste that is being thrown into the ocean every minute. So it's a major amount of waste that goes. Let's go into our waste management in our country and looking at how we deal with municipal solid waste management, which is a waste we're creating at home. We see that in the past, I mean, over the last 50 years, and the tendency was to throw everything into the landfill. We have become a little bit better by increasing the portion of waste that can go into the recycling, which is here in Merced, the blue garbage. We have started to also do some incineration, but as you can see, the number hasn't changed over time. Mostly recycling and composting have been taking over. And then there have also new practices to deal with waste management. We can see that each region has a different way to deal with waste. The landfill tend to be strong, for example, in the state of Texas, less in the state of California. We have more recycling happening, but we have almost none waste to energy. So incineration of waste to produce electricity, which is in fact something that is used in some other states and some other country. It's one of the ways to manage waste, to burn it out, and that will be in fact providing the fuel to make turning the turbine and produce electricity. In California, we tend to do a lot of still some landfill, of course, but not as much. We've been able to reduce at least more and more. We are able to recycle a lot of the plastic papers that we're making, and all what can be composed, the biological waste that we're producing, can go into composting. So we've been improving and reducing the amount of waste that goes into the landfill, because in some way, everything that goes to the landfill, stays in the landfill, nothing will be happening to that waste. It's just accumulated. It's just a long-term storage. And the landfills at least are not dump sites, because we do have a structure, as you can see. It's a complex structure made of different layers that avoid any product, any chemicals, any what we call leachate, which is liquids that can form from the accumulation of waste, or any product and leachate and liquid waste will be maintained in a landfill. The idea is you're protecting it from potential contamination on the outside. So you're building some kind of wall made of gravels and then plastic, some impermeable layers, succession of different layers to avoid that there is any pollution of the groundwater, pollution of the soil, for example, emission of gas that can happen through what we call anaerobic decomposition. So the fact that the waste will decompose without oxygen. There is also pipes that will collect those gas, and ideally this will be sent into some storage treatment, or it can be used in terms of the gas to do some gas conversion that can be used also to produce electricity. But again, the landfill ideally is not the final solution, because it's just an accumulation of waste. And so this is gone forever, instead of trying to recycle, to make reuse of that. And I have the little movie to show you about how landfills are working. Let's see if it wants to load. No, maybe not. Okay, so I will invite you then to watch this little movie into the CAT courses webpage of this lecture that you will find below it. Okay, let me switch. I was mentioning that one of the ways is to use that waste, at least as fuel, to burn it out, to you burning the waste, and the steam that will be produced will help generate a turbine to turn, and the generator will use that to produce electricity. Another way I was mentioning, from the landfill, you can capture the gas, which is mostly methane, and do the same. You're using the methane as a way, as a combustible that will be used to burn out, and to make turning a turbine and produce electricity. So there is a potential to use waste to produce energy. And some countries, such as, if I do recall well, Sweden, tend to have a high production of electricity coming from their waste burning, combustion. So this is not the ideal way of disposing our waste. I'm not going over composting, since we covered that in the food lecture, but composting is also a way to dispose only of our organic food production, and only a specific part of the food production that usually hasn't been processed. But it's at least it's a way to enter to enter back our waste into the nutrient cycle. We'll see how we can modify our waste production to go and towards what we call the zero waste, trying to reduce as much as possible our production of waste. And that will be in our next video. So see you in the next video.